Then I get a text from John, Alicia Monson, OMG. And I'm just like, what did Alicia Monson do? And I'm trying to think, like, what did she do? I think on vacation. I'm not even sure what race she was running. I think I might have known there was a 3K. It's weird. She's a long distance, but a 5K, you probably think she gets beat. I'm just trying to figure out, like, she must have won some big race. But you guys recapped it all on the Supporters Club show. But I think we need to talk about it now. I mean, 5 years from now, is this going to be a race we're talking about when Alicia Monson sort of arrived on the world stage?
I think that's a fair question. We talked about this on the Supporters Club podcast. Is she now one of the best distance runners in the world? Because you got to look at the women she was running with and the women she beat in this race. So she lost to Francine Niensaba, but by 1/100th of a second. She ran 8:26.61. Monson did. Niensaba ran 8:26.60. Monson is now number two. Sorry. Yeah, Niensaba 8:26.80. Monson was 8:26.81. And Monson's now number two on the all-time U.S. outdoor list behind only Mary Decker Slaney. But look at who she beat. Beatrice Chebet just medaled at the World Championships in the 5,000. Sifan Hassan, reigning Olympic champ in the 5 and 10K. Margaret Kipkemboi just medaled at Worlds in the 10,000. Those are the three women directly behind. And then Laura Muir in 7th place, who just medaled at Worlds in the 1,500. Monson put a move on them and dropped them at the bell. Now, is it possible we're looking a few years down the road and we're saying, oh, remember that crazy meet where Alicia Monson almost won a Diamond League? Like, whatever happened to her? I don't think so. When you get to running and you kind of show up and against some of the big athletes, when you can't fake 8:26. 8:26 is really fast. Now, is it enough? Is she going to win a medal one day? Who knows? But like right now, I think you kind of have to say, yeah, she is one of the best long distance runners in the world.
I mean, you take it to a field like that in a Diamond League meet. I guess, that's how you define best. But for sure, like, she's firing on all cylinders. I'm kind of trying to figure out the splits. Why couldn't anybody stay with her? Because I just expect them to beat her. Then I rewatched the race. And, I mean, she had it, essentially. Or you guys, the letting up at the end might have made a difference. I don't know if that makes 0.01 difference or not. She did not lean. She slightly let up, put up her hands. Probably cost her the race. But that wasn't my big takeaway. My big takeaway is, wait, she's dropping Sifan Hassan. Okay, maybe she twisted her ankle. Laura Muir. All of these people, it's by far the best performance by her. In the big scheme of things, though, is 8:26 that fast? But when you take on a high-quality field like that and you gap them, you're doing something. There's no way everybody was just off.
No, now I do think there is a couple things to note. Niensaba, this was her first race back after having a stress fracture in her foot. She's going to be better than this, I expect, next year, perhaps a lot better. Sifan Hassan, we saw at Worlds, she's not quite back to where she was. Well, she wasn't close to where she was at the Olympics, but she didn't start training until May. So I think those two are probably going to be on a different level next year. And that means, if they both run the 5K, there might only be one medal up for grabs. But these other women, Chebet, Kipkemboi, I mean, to be able to go up and drop them, I don't think they haven't shown they're at the sort of untouchable Hassan Niensaba level. So that, to me, if I was an American distance fan, that's what I would be excited about. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't think she's ever going to be untouchable completing for gold, but that's a really hard, high bar. And I do think she could be a medal threat. And in the 5,000, which is an event the Americans have always done really terrible at, the women's 5,000 in the Worlds and the Olympics. So there's definitely hope. This is the brightest hope there's been for a while.
Look, Walden says I'm always negative. That's what a decade of college coaching will do. Makes you realize about it's all genetics. But let's start by giving an apology to Miss Monson a little bit. I mean, I played up her letting up and costing herself the win. That's all I could focus on when this race ended initially. I've now watched the replay 5 or 6 times since we recorded the Friday 15. Look, she did lean back a little bit right at the line, But the main thing was she didn't lunge at the line. She didn't lean. I still think that cost her the win. But this was not. She didn't really slow down until the last 2 meters. Wasn't like an Emily Enfield thing. But John asked me then on Friday, is she one of the best runners in the world? I mean, it depends on what you mean the best. Like, I mean, I'm still into the theory, except for Jacob Ingebrigtsen, about the genetic superiority of the East Africans, which drives Weldon nuts. But I said no at the time. She was 13th in the World Championship 10,000. That's her better event. Somehow she wins this race. I don't know how she did it. Like, I'll repeat it again.
She didn't win. Almost won.
Well, she should have won. 300 meters to go. I'm like, I've seen her doors get blown off at the U.S. level, John, when it comes time to kick. So I'm like, these Africans are just lined up around her. But then with 300 meters to go and she got like 3 or 4 meters on them, I'm like, wow, they must really not respect her. They're just toying with her. And then with like 150 to go, I'm like, it flipped a switch. Alicia, go. You got this. And then I just saw in the last 50 meters, I was like, no, don't let up. She's coming. Run for the line, lean. And then she put her arms out and lost. But I guess she has to be considered someone that could medal. But I kind of feel like, I don't know. People, Moa Med fans are probably going to be mad. Like maybe they medal, if not everybody. Is she one of the 3 best runners in the world if everybody shows up at the 5,000 and is in peak form? Absolutely not. But that's not the way the sport works. People were injured. They're running events. They're having maternity leave, etc. But John, let's look at the women's 5,000 from. Well, should we start with the 10,000
from Eugene? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think she's a better chance to medal in the 10?
I would have thought initially yes, but she was 50 seconds behind. I mean, Gaudet runs 30:09. O'Berry 30:10. Margaret Kimboy 30:10. Now, Monson beat Margaret Kimboy in this race. Safana San 30:10.
Like 30:10, all these times are faster than the American record.
Rahel Daniel 30:12. Ijitaye 30:12. So that's a tough one. All right, let's go to the 5,000. Monson didn't come back for the 5,000. Wasn't in that, but you know it was a slow race. Gudov Sige. She's beaten Monson, John, 14:46. Beatrice Chibet, though, 14:46, silver medal. Monson just beat her. Beatrice Chibet also won the Commonwealth Games. Daiwat Siam, 14:47. Margaret Kimboy, another person. Let's-Annette Gaudet, 14:47. So, I mean, Kimboy beat Gaudet, who Monson beat Kimboy. Safana San, 14:48. I just don't think how she's going to beat Sige, Siam, Hassan if they're in it. But definitely could medal. You know, it's kind of everything has to align.
Well, here's the thing that I'm sort of struggling to square is she closed. So her last kilometer was pretty quick. It was actually faster. I've got the kilometer splits here for Worlds. Her last kilometer in Lausanne was 2:44. The last kilometer in World Championship final, leader to leader, was 2:45.60. So
in the 5,000?
In the 5,000. Yeah.
And that's pretty good because that was a tactical 5,000. It was only 14:46.
Right. So she was really able to ratchet up the pace from a couple laps out. But on the last lap, the winner was Gudov Sige. She closed in 59.9. And she ended up winning by half a second over Beatrice Chibet. And then Siam was like another half a second behind that. Monson closed in 63 seconds for her last lap, and I'm not trying to take anything away, but we've seen her get crushed by Carissa Schweizer at USA Outdoors in the 10,000 earlier this year. We saw Ellie Poirier ran away from her late at USA Indoors in the 3,000 back in February. I just think to medal in a 5,000 meter final at the World Championships, you probably have to be able to close in about 61, I would say. And I'm not convinced Monson could do that. I do still think she's kind of a push it from the front. Now, if she can take her final kilometer from Lausanne and throw that into the World Championship final and you're closing in 2:44, hell yeah, maybe you have a chance. But that last lap, I mean, that would be my concern.
Let's stop this insanity. I said no initially. And I got to say no again. Now, Ritz is so high in her talent. Maybe she keeps improving. She's got a 407 1500 meter PB. Weldon's like, but she beat all these people. But yeah, look, Nian Saba, I mean, who knows if she'll be allowed to run in the future, but she just missed 2 months with a stress fracture. Hassan, I thought she was going to dominate this race because I thought she was coming to form, but Hassan took 3 steps onto the infield, twisted her ankle on a curb, and looked very visibly injured to me running the last 200 meters. So I'm not sure Monson's even, if you put him in the 3000, I know she beat, like, where do you think she runs? We train all year. We have a 3000 in America. Where does she finish? I think it's a best third.
What do you mean? I mean, she just beat Elise Cranny. Carissa Schweiz is injured. Who's beating her? Purry is not the same. Her season's over. I know Purry medaled at World Indoors. Like, right, this is causing me to reevaluate things. Do I think Carissa Schweizer could beat her or Ellie Purrier if they all get in like perfect shape? Maybe, but like right now, I think it's clearly Monson.
Yeah, I'm not saying right now. I'm saying if they all train and get in top form.
Yeah, I think probably third.
Look, this run, she's done very well since coming out as a pro. We had Ritz on the podcast a year ago, and he was so bullish on her. This is before she made the Olympic team anything. Go in our archives, listen to it. We had her on the podcast as well. In the past, we've had, 2 women win Diamond Leagues in 3Ks? Lauren Fleshman versus a watered field, and Katie Mackey, pretty watered down field, right?
And Shannon Robery, it's 3, but they were all against very watered down fields.
This was legit.
Yes.
So you got to think more highly of her. Do I think she's a medalist? No. Could she be? I'm going to start reassessing. I'm going to get very excited every time she runs.
Yeah.
From here
she's
out,
given Americans permission to dream in an event where historically they have had 0 success, which is the women's 5,000. And it also makes that rivalry with Cranny and Carissa Schweizer. They're all sort of similar ages coming up together. That's pretty exciting now as well.